Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
There are mysterious parts in that book, but the only true mystery is that our very lives are governed by dead people.
This is episode 279, recorded February 19th, 2025.
Gruesome Magazine.
Yay. It's
I see
spooky.
dead people.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Kind of.
Icy.
All right. I'm your host, Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-hosts, Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. Joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, actress and YouTuber. How are you this fine day, Crystal?
I'm great. I'm actually glad we did this one. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I actually forgot most of it. And I think that the one that I watched seemed like it was like upscaled, so it was nicer looking. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also joining us, well, first off, Chad Hunt is not with us tonight. He's a little under the weather. Hopefully it's a temporary thing and we will see him back next episode, but kind of a short-term thing. We didn't have time to get a sub, so we're going to wing it. Last but not least is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, co-host of Decades of Horror, the 1970s, all-around nice guy, and published author.
Yay.
Of Rome.
How you doing, Bill?
Well, today was a snow day. We had ice and sleet and snow here in Sanford, North Carolina, which we are ill prepared for. Bad drivers on the best day and on a day like this. So not only do they cancel today, they cancel tomorrow because it's going to get down to 18 and all this slush is going to freeze. I'll be lucky if we get in Friday.
There was no snow in San Diego today, but
we got
I think it was 7 degrees in Iowa. A couple of days ago, it was minus 14, and that was the temperature. That wasn't the wind chill.
I just want to say, Crystal Cleveland here has her background is a total Dario Argento.
Yeah, it is.
Vibe going on there.
It's the background to this movie. Yeah.
That's awesome. That could be a scene right out of it.
Yeah, but okay, well, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it, yeah.
All right. So, Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine are partnering with Play Now Media on several of their streaming channels. They got a whole lot of them. Decades of Horror, the 70s and 80s is on the Wicked Horror TV channel. And we have a promo code for that. DOH80, DOH, all caps, 80. And in order to take advantage of that, you need to sign up through their website, and you must be a first-time subscriber. So their monthly fee is $6.99, their annual fee is $49.99, and with that promo code you get 20% off your first payment. So with the monthly fee, you'd get $1.40 off, and that's it. If you sign up for a year, you'll get $10 off, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it also works on the Classic Horror Movie channel and the Classic Sci-Fi Movie channel, too. So you can try those as well. So anyway, they got a lot of good stuff there, and check them out. You can go there if you want. You can just go and watch movies like Tubi. You don't have to sign up. But you will get ads, and there'll be some premium content you don't get access to. And it will not remember your spot, and you can't save favorites or anything like that. But if you subscribe, in other words, give it an email address and a password, then it will remember you and where you're at when you're playing a movie across different devices, and you can create a favorites list that it will save. You'll still get the ads, and there's still some premium content you don't get, but you can still watch a lot of stuff there, including us. Yay!
Yeah.
Yay.
All right. What we do here on this podcast, we start by giving some basic details of the film we're covering, followed by each of our first impressions of the movie, some taglines, and a general discussion about whatever trips our triggers. So,
trips our triggers.
Trips our triggers. This is our topic today is Inferno, second of the three mothers. Directed by Dario Argento, written by Dario Argento and Dardano Sacchetti, and I don't know what all this stuff is. Thomas de Quincey wrote the book. That all this is uncredited, and then a story by Daria Nicolodi and Dario Argento. The cast includes Lee McCloskey, Irene Miracle, Eleonora Giorgi, Daria Nicolodi, Saka Peteft, Alida Valli, Veronica Lazar, Gabriella Lavia, Theodore Chiliapin Jr., Leopoldo Mastaloni, and Anya Pironi.
Sounds very Italian.
Yeah, it does. The production company is Produzione Intersound. It's filmed mostly in Rome. They did some pickup stuff in Manhattan for the Running Out of the Burning Building later on. Filming dates May 21st to September 27th, 1979, which is kind of a long deal. I think that's like go back and pick a few shots. Release date, February 7th, 1980 in Italy and April 2nd, 1980 in the U.S. That is not right. Estimated budget, I believe, is $3 million. I don't know why I didn't copy that over, but anyway. And it was kind of weird because IMDb said 3 million lira, and when I tried to cross-check that, that's like $12,000 or some ridiculous.
Wow.
Oh, that's
and then I looked at Wikipedia, and it was $3 million US dollars. So,
see, that's what happens when you get Mario Bava on your set. You know, you can squeeze a buck.
The synopsis: an American student investigates the disappearance of his sister and the death of a friend, both connected from New York to Rome by an old alchemy book.
Okay, that's fair. That's exactly what it is.
That story's somewhere in there.
Yeah, you couldn't tell by me, but at any rate, guess what? This is Bill's second Dario Argento pick in a row.
Oh boy. I should be doling these out slowly. It's not like we're getting any more good ones.
So what are your first impressions on this, Bill? And
well,
when did you first see this and all that jazz?
Suspiria. I fell in love with Suspiria pretty early on, and then was looking for whatever I could find, and not everything was easily available back in the day. But Inferno did get a bit of release on the strength of how well Suspiria did. So that was relatively easy to find. And I thought then, as I think now, it's not Suspiria, but then nothing else is. Even the other movie called Suspiria isn't Suspiria. So that's unfair. and calling it a sequel, it's a sequel in a tenuous sense. Yeah, it's in the same universe. And it's got what's most important, it's got the same aesthetic. That beautiful, much like Crystal's background, those primary colors, the just gorgeous colors, great cinematography, a storyline that makes very little sense. I'd say this one's probably more coherent than Suspiria's. And in a lot of ways, it's better than Suspiria, but I don't love it as much. I still love it though. And the only thing that holds back complete love is that it's obviously going to be compared to my favorite movie. But it's got so much going for it. Now, again, if you're looking for cohesive narrative, look elsewhere. If you're looking for a strong protagonist, forget about it. This guy's useless. and I think that's one of the things that holds it back from Suspiria is that it doesn't have something that it really needed, which was Jessica Harper. And it shows you just how important she was to Suspiria working. She's no more useful than this guy. But I don't know. That doesn't bother me as much. Maybe that's a sexist attitude on my part. But if you're going to have a protagonist who is just completely being led along by their nose, and at no point seems to do anything that advances helps anything along. It might as well be a young woman who you could figure it. When it's a guy, it's like, well, come on, dude, you're supposed to take charge and things. And this guy, his high point is when he kills a 90-year-old man in a wheelchair, and he actually doesn't even do it. The guy strangles himself accidentally. I mean,
yeah,
dude, just okay. But you know what? In a Dario Argento movie, if you survive at the end, give yourself a clap on the back, because that's more than the rest of the cast can say. But this is just so weird. This movie makes not a lick of sense. Even when you have a horrible character who does a horrible thing, then he starts getting eaten by rats, screams for help. There's a hot dog seller who hears his help, runs across the water. Notice I didn't say wades through the water. Skips across the water like he's Jesus, but he's not, because then he gets to this guy, instead of rescuing him, he slits his throat. Just another day in Dario Argentoville.
He wasn't even wearing black gloves. He's part of it.
Even you can't even trust the hot dog vendors. This is New York, chaos reigns. It's crazy. It's really crazy, but it's just got some yummy visuals, and it's a beautiful movie. Definitely, if you ever get a chance to see it on the big screen, which I have. I think it was a double feature with Suspiria somewhere. Now, I will say, I'm glad, Crystal, where did you see the copy that you said looks so good?
Prime, Amazon Prime.
I'm not sure where I watched it. I thought the grain on the one that I was watching seemed a little strong, but I'm not sure if that may be
mine
how
had
it actually
no
looked.
grain. Like it was it was definitely like, where did you watch it? Yours, Jeff?
I don't remember where I saw mine.
Mine was a Blue Underground Blu-ray.
Okay, so yours was probably pretty crisp too.
It was pretty good. And there's also I don't know why. I think I was trying to find. I think Arrow has a Blu-ray too. There's another Blu-ray that's got a lot more extras on it, but I couldn't get it in time, I think was the deal.
Oh my God.
Well, it comes from.
This is worth
it may have been a British issue of.
I mean, a movie
Arrow,
like this deserves to be seen in the best possible way. It's not the assault on the senses that Suspiria was. Although I think, in some ways that makes it better. The cinematography is not quite as over the top. And I guess the other thing that I like was Keith Emerson, I guess, who did the music. And I like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I like it. But Goblin just was so over the top with Suspiria that this seems rather subdued. I mean, and that the whole film seems a little more subdued than Suspiria. And so it doesn't have quite the reputation. It's still, I think, a really good film. If you like Giallo, if you like early Argento when he was really good, if you like Suspiria, you definitely need to check out Inferno. I think it's criminally underrated.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked it. I hope everybody agreed.
All righty. Thank you, sir. It was a good pick. Crystal, how about you? Had you seen this before?
Yeah, I just don't really remember when or much about it, to be honest. I mean, Argento stuff is so, spacey, really, in a way. Okay, so for some reason, I think this is actually one of his most beautiful films. If you just look at the cinematography, like I really think it is so pretty. I think he went way over the top with the red and the blue in this one for some reason. Like it's even more than he typically does. But this movie just irritates me for some reason. Just makes me angry on so many levels. And I'm not sure why. Maybe I don't know what gets it, what just trips my trigger, so to speak, about this film. It just makes me, I don't know. Something really bothers me.
Can I propose a possibility?
Yeah.
Is there any movie where the people in the movie that we're supposed to be rooting for make dumber decisions? Like,
I agree.
There's a hole in the floor and it's full of water. I'm going to jump into it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. That's okay. Yeah. That's a big part of it. And it's all of them. It's like, oh, not only that, you can't, and then it bothers me. I know he does this sometimes in other films, but like it seems worse in this one, where like after like when she's getting her keys, it's partial editing, but she's like just like, and I just get really irritated by things like that. Like it's just grab your keys, okay? You don't need to be like fingering them, and like I get it. They're trying to build the anticipation, and I feel like instead of building the anticipation, it just absolutely ruins it for me. It's hard. So I love Argento, and I do enjoy his films, and I do enjoy this one, but it does bother me to agree. There's also a lot of freaking exposition. And I agree, it still is a lot of exposition that doesn't make sense. It's super weird. I mean, you got these 3 witches, the 3 mothers or whatever. It's just it's odd, but I do like the film, and I'm glad I rewatched it because I forgot how attractive it was. I don't think I probably would have ever watched it again because it's definitely not my favorite. I really like, I love Suspiria, and I really love opera more than most people do. So like, but this one, I mean, if you like Argento, you should see it for sure. It's beautiful. And I do like the underwater bits. Okay. Like I like the way it's filmed and stuff. There's a lot to like about it, but I agree that it just, I don't know why it is. It's just the stupid decisions. And hey, go check on that breaker. Go check on that breaker and talk to me the whole time you're there, so that I know where you are. As he proceeds to not speak. Oh yeah, I will. As he proceeds to not speak a freaking word, not a single freaking word. I can't stand that stuff, y'all.
Yeah,
I can't. I was like, why isn't he talking to her? Why he said okay. Okay. Yeah,
a lot of people. A lot of people have described this as having a kind of dream logic, which I totally get because
that does make sense.
It doesn't like the whole underwater thing is beautiful, but there are fish that cannot stay underwater as long as this world.
Of course,
I mean, come on. Without and no panic is like, do I need to get another breath of air? Nah, I'm gonna check. I wonder where this lighting is coming from. Oh well.
Well, that's the whole movie. All right, thanks, Crystal. I like this a lot, and almost entirely because of the visuals. It's just absolutely gorgeous. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on here that I can't possibly be in there for any other reason than they set up a cool shot and tried to make it fit or something. I don't know, but it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And talk about blues and reds. Interesting production design too, except a lot of it was ruins, like crawling around through the under floors and in the basement, and like you said, falling through holes in the water. The thing that got me was, I'm like, okay, somebody explain to me what's making all these windows explode and fling open with the wind blowing through there. There was no explanation whatsoever. You're running down a hallway and windows would explode as you ran by. I guess that was the not the witches. They're not witches. The alchemy of the whole situation. Anyway, other than that, that's some interesting kills. I did like the underwater secrets, but I wasn't so much focused on how long she held her breath as how totally inept she was at picking something up.
I know. Like, oh, God.
I understand. But even though while I'm watching it, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, come on, grab it already!" But still, it was building tension for me. Building some suspense. I'm like going, reaching. Then I put my hand down next to it. Then I reach my other hand down to grab it. Anyway.
I'd love to have seen this in a theater when this feels like one of those movies where the audience would be screaming at the people on the screens, like, because I think most of us would agree. Now, if you dropped your keys into a mysterious hole on the floor of a hotel that was flooded, I wouldn't. If I dropped my keys in a toilet bowl, I'm not reaching for. I'm just going to flush it and get some new keys.
Yeah,
but I am not going down there where there's God knows what.
I can't think of that.
Corpses would be the best case scenario. I bet it's full of asbestos.
I kept thinking it must have something to do with the that whole thing about the third sister and the key and the under your feet or something. I don't know.
Right.
But that was just her keys. I guess.
But it did look pretty.
Well, at any rate, that's my thing for now. But yeah, try to figure out. I think I got the general plot, but I didn't understand any cause and effect for anything that was of the individual things that was going on.
Right. Just like a dream, things just happen.
Yeah.
That just because something happens, it doesn't lead to anything else. It happened, and then something else happens.
So that leads us to now time for. Oh my God, I can't find it. Where did it go? Taglines with Chad, as played by Crystal Cleveland.
Yay!
Yay! There's not very many, so that's good. And actually, these aren't horrible, I guess. Okay. Here we go. A frightened journey through the macabre corridors of hell. That's
fun.
bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Terror that's hotter than hell. It sounds like that should be like a Western.
Yeah. That doesn't, hotter than hell.
Well, there's a lot of fire in Inferno.
There is.
Oh, that's fair. And then it is Inferno.
It is Inferno.
Okay, and it literally is. Okay, fine. Before Tenebrae, beyond Suspiria, there is Inferno.
That's fine, except nobody even knew that Tenebrae barely got a release.
So it's interesting because I guess that's how it harkens back to the three witches, or because one of them is like Tenebrae, one of them's like Suspiria thing, and then okay. And
well,
then
Tenebrae, Tenebrarum or something. That's
and the movie Tenebrae, however it's pronounced, really had nothing to do with the three mothers, but he used that. I guess he fell in love with that title.
Well, it just means darkness, I think, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Which makes come face to face with hell. Okay.
Oh, a lot of hell here.
Yeah. I don't think that makes total sense, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Crystal. Well, that's been Taglines with Chad.
Chad's our hero, cool and rad. With him reading taglines, they can't be that bad.
Got to see Crystal and hear Crystal.
As played by Crystal. Yeah.
It's Crystal Mania.
Played and sung by Crystal. Okay. Well, let's get on to some other stuff here. I feel weird to have Crystal sit there by herself, so we'll move that up. So the posters are all pretty much the same.
I love that.
They have this red blue skull on. I really like this particular one with the.
Yeah, that is very cool and gives you a sense of what you're getting, and has a better skull than the actual skeleton that shows up at the end. So.
Oh my God!
Well, that's kind of cool, though. I thought that was cool. And the way it appeared.
It's funny. It's funny. I am death.
and it's like you went to a Spirit Halloween store on the day after Halloween and picked up that costume.
Yeah.
And by the way, the German title I forgot was Horror Infernal, Feuilletanz der Zombies.
Zombies.
Oh, zombies.
Fire Dance of Zombies.
Oh.
I think zombies must mean something different in German than.
See, okay, and when Breaker dude got stabbed, okay, and when he was on her and trying to attack, and like he acted like I could not stand that. I was like, why is he doing this? This makes no sense. And I was just on top. Sorry, I just remembered that really upset me because I was like, why is he acting like a zombie? Like. Woof.
So I think this is the. I'm guessing a little bit, but 7th Argento movie we've done.
Well.
That's probably
start with what? Birds?
Yeah, Bird with the
Crystal Plumage.
Deep Red.
The City of Hell.
Cat with 9 tails.
Whatever.
Cat of 9 tails. We've done Deep Red, right?
Yeah, Deep Red, Suspiria, Tenebrae, and Opera and Phenomenon. I think that's 8.
I think that is 8.
Anyway, that's a bunch.
That is a bunch.
We love us some Dario.
Yeah.
Well, and as a matter of fact,
this is just, I mean, we could put up a whole bunch there, but this was around the same time when Argento was really.
So this was Demons was a production.
That was a production. Yeah, he was heavily involved with other things too. I was just looking for the ones that people would probably know. They got a decent American release.
Phenomena, Tenebrae, Opera.
Yeah. And this was also one that $3 million budget's pretty good for an Argento film. And I think he got that on the fact that Suspiria so outperformed what anybody expected for it. Although I still say a lot of it was from that scary as all bleep ad that they ran at 3 a.m. on TV with the woman with her back turned to us and someone's brushing her hair, and then it turns around and we see she's a skeleton. Yeah. And the first time I saw that, I just about levitated out of my chair.
So this is like prime Argento, where he's just going overboard on the imagery and it really is a good companion with Suspiria, I think. I mean, I think Suspiria is better. This is different, but it's got a lot of great sequences.
It's beautiful. I mean it when I say that it's probably one of his most beautiful. Just the shots and the coloring and everything.
Every frame is like a painting. This would be a great double feature with Suspiria. And if that happens and you go to it, expect that at least a quarter of the audience will have dropped acid before they went to the theater, which I do not recommend. Let me hasten to add. But
maybe a bad trip. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't know how those things are going to go. I hear.
So as Bill described him, our male lead is Lee McCloskey.
Yep.
Is that correct?
And and he's got great hair, and
he's got great hair.
Useless. But he's looking for his sister and looking to, just all these other people go out and do stuff and get killed, and he looks for him, and I don't know. So anyway, that movie on the bottom, he was also in the one. It's like, where have I seen this guy before besides this movie? And it's the Bermuda Depths, which is the answer to almost every question I've ever had at a convention when someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I saw this movie when I was young, and I don't know what it was, but it had a giant turtle, the Bermuda Depths." And they're like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I joke, but that has happened at least 3 times, to the point where I thought somebody was setting me up. But and I get it, because that movie, it was a TV movie. It played once or twice, and you can't get it out of your head. Maybe we'll do it one time. I think it's probably available on YouTube or something. Oh, look, I'm not saying it's great, but boy, when you're watching it, I'm like, did I just see Carl Weathers dragged to his death by a giant turtle?
What?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in. Yep. Yeah. Sounds crazy.
I don't see a ton of genre stuff other than
Now, what in the workflow it's mentioned they wanted, and this is an interesting choice. They wanted James Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he would have been fabulous.
Yeah.
I think this guy, he seemed so weak. And when he was looking at the chick after she died, he's just like this.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. I guess I was like, he's in shock, right? But still, you could still do something. It's so crazy.
I feel like James Woods would have added a little bit of, intensity to the role.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he played a character kind of like that in Videodrome, where he's thrown into something he doesn't understand.
I think that's what he was making instead. When did Videodrome come out?
That's why he couldn't make this role.
Well, that was worth it.
So this guy is kind of an interesting character. He went to Juilliard School and wasn't really ever thinking about being an actor, but just sort of ended up into it. Same thing for, Irene when we get to that. I was trying to see if they say anything about it. He's done a lot of artwork as well. There's a little interview with him on the Blue Underground Blu-ray, and he shows a piece of art that he says he drew while working on Inferno.
Oh,
that was sort of his interpretation of like the three. It's sort of MC Escher / nightmarish type thing, and he said he did another one that he gave to Dario.
Cool.
I don't know. So that would be cool.
Probably appreciate where, I mean, look at that center frame there. There's a lot going on. There's a good use of the space and all, and this does remind me a lot of a Mario Bava film. And indeed, Mario, this is the last thing he ever worked on. He did not direct it, although there's a lot of stuff that people have claimed that he directed this or directed that, and I don't know. I'd have to reread Tim Lucas's All the Colors in the Night to know exactly.
I thought I read that or was it Lamberto Bava directed the underwater thing? Is that correct?
I've always heard that Mario was very heavily involved. That was the thing he was most involved in. The feeling I got is that he was brought in to do a lot of effects and stuff, which he was so good at, and definitely that shot at the end where the mother confronts the hero in the mirror and then she disappears, but her image is still there. That's so cleverly done. Now I know how they did it. Yeah, I know how they did it, but it's really well done. It's a fake mirror. That's an actress trying to mimic her movements. And I think the way she disappears, and that's a great disappearance. I think, if I had to guess, it was the old trick of having a pane of glass at like a 45-degree angle. You have someone off to the side lit. It's their reflection that you see. And then by dimming the lights where they are, they seem to disappear. This was really popular back in the day at carny shows where a woman would turn into a gorilla. And you're using this, I forget that something ghost effect, but it's a really simple thing to do. And it looks great. And of course, Bava was a master at coming up with ways to make things look. I was super impressed with just how they made it look like that building was on fire. It didn't just look like flames superimposed on a building.
Yeah. He tells the story about how they were doing those shots of the stuntman running through the fire when he escapes the building. And they called him up and said, the stuntman broke his leg. Can you come do this? Don't worry. It's not dangerous, Except the stuntman broke his leg already.
If we needed a stuntman, I guess it was dangerous.
He went and did it. And he said there was no acting going on. I just was just trying to get the hell out of there as fast as I could. This will happen. And then this flame will go up and that, and he just said,
with all that hairspray, I don't know if I'd want to be working around fire.
So anyway, the wonders of movie making. Irene Miracle.
There we go.
Our underwater swimmer.
Oh, that's so pretty. Another in a long line of, hey, if you're watching an Argento movie, don't assume the first attractive woman you see is the protagonist. She's probably not going to last.
Well, she was the sister, right? Am I correct in understanding? Okay. Because it was a little confusing.
Yes, it was.
For me, honestly.
His sister, right?
Yes, his sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, I know he's the protagonist, but he's not in it much. They go from her to the other woman and then to him. It's it's kind of odd,
Yeah.
The structure's weird. Well, there may be a reason for that. She says, they have different stories about it, but she said she was in Midnight Express.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where then she got known a little bit, and that her agent called her and said, hey, this guy Dario wants to come talk to you. He's this big new thing out of Italy, and he does these beautiful movies, blah blah blah. And she goes, yeah, sure, I'll meet with him. So he comes to meet with him, and she says she and her agent sat in this room, and he was late, and when he came in, he just looked at her and he walked all around her and never said anything. And then he was with some other guy, and then at some point nodded at the other guy, and they left. And the next day, somebody calls him and says, "You have the part." Well, then I can't remember what the reason was. She got sick, or she had an allergy or something, but her hair started falling out.
Oh no!
Well, I was wondering if something was wrong with her hair. Did you see it?
Yeah.
It looked
like
so
in a couple
bad.
of the shots. Well, she said Dario decided she was embarrassed by that, and she said Dario decided that she was dying and didn't tell him about it. Why didn't you tell me you were dying? And so she thought that there was a language problem, right? He didn't speak English. I think she said Claudio had to translate, but a lot of stuff she just had to guess about. Nobody bothered telling her, and she said there was a bigger part for me in the movie, but suddenly I was dead. Or I was out of it. And do we see her killed? I don't think we.
No. Which is that?
We assumed she goes around the corner and that's it.
Yeah,
that's the last reason. But she's stuck in that building, so you can assume. Obviously, and the guys they're talking and saying we need to make sure we do blah blah blah.
Yeah,
whatever,
But you could also assume that they decided not to use cut her out of the movie.
Yeah.
And restructured it a little bit, just had her disappear like that. Anyway,
I assume she was the big chunk of meat they were chopping up for the hot dog vendor.
Yeah. So kind of weird, another kind of weird thing. And then, because then her brother shows up and keeps asking everybody, "Somebody tell me where my sister is. Tell me where my sister is." And everybody just ignores him.
Yeah.
They don't even go, "We don't know she was here, that she was gone." It's just, they just ignore her. She doesn't have a lot of credits. I think she did fine in this, especially all that swimming.
The two movies I thought of for her down there: Puppet Master. Yeah. She's in Puppet Master, and a movie I haven't actually seen, In the Shadow of Kilimanjaro, which I'll bet is not as good a movie as it should be, because it's got a great premise where a bunch of an army of baboons start attacking.
I was just going to say killer baboons. It looks like.
And baboons.
That's a great poster, though.
Yeah. Baboons are terrifying. I mean, their butts are scary.
Yep.
Oh, I've seen baboons. I've seen videos of baboons tearing up other animals. So.
Oh yeah. Don't mess with them.
All right, but those underwater shots were gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
I think wasn't there something that she was a synchronized swimmer.
She was, yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly.
I
was trying to remember. That was another reason she thought maybe she got the part, because she was I knew she was a swimmer, and I was thinking, God, was she Olympic swimmer? What was it? That's not right. You're exactly right. Synchronized. Good body control, I assume.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we come to Bill's love.
Oh yeah. Just such a lovely woman, and man, Dario just did not do right by her.
No,
I mean, they had a long-term relationship. It ended as things often do, and I wasn't there, so I don't know who to blame. Maybe no one was to blame. That's their own business. But he really kind of did her dirty. He didn't give her. She had to fight like hell to get the writing credit for Suspiria. And she didn't even bother with this one because it was such a hassle then. Not that writing this is exactly the biggest feather in one's cap, because there's not a lot going on here. But why fight that? And he did continue to cast her in movies. But dang, in Deep Red, she's the heroine and gets to win. And then it seems like after their relationship ended, her appearance in movies is, how can I torment my ex? I'll throw cats at her, or I'll have her devoured by insects. I'll have her shot in the eye.
Well,
such a waste.
Back to Irene Miracle. That was the other thing. She said she had no idea what the movie was about. When you shot scenes, there wasn't much direction. It was like she did these scenes that were in isolation by themselves. Do this, act this way. Well, what's my, just this what's going to happen. And she said there was a lot of Dario and Daria yelling at each other in another room and throwing things around the room and shit.
Oh boy.
So that must have been during that time.
Yeah.
1980. Anyway,
well, she's lovely. You know, she's starting to reach a certain age, but still absolutely, I think, beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, I wish she'd done more. I
thought she was beautiful in opera.
Oh yeah.
Which is what, 7 years later. This is she has a you do a better job of describing it, Bill, but she has a she's not beautiful in the traditional sense of the word.
Like
she's
classic,
beautiful in a mystical way, kind of almost, or an air about her.
Yeah, and she always conveys, because I everything I've read about her in interviews and stuff, very intelligent woman. Her characters always have something going on behind their eyes. At least that's what I see. Maybe I'm just smitten, but I've always loved this actress, and she left us a good body of work, but really should have had more. And I'm sorry things, got a little ugly with them, but I guess at the very least, their relationship did spawn a lot of good movies.
They might, for all we know, they were arguing about what was going on with the movie, and
might have had nothing to do with
artistic disagreements, maybe.
Anyway. Hey, who knows? Yeah,
probably a lot of things. He seems difficult. Honestly,
you get the vibe. I mean, you just get that sense. He's brilliant,
he's an artist. Yeah,
and they. I love artists. Some of my best friends are artists and everything, and they're great people. But they are on a different. They operate on a different plane than the rest of us. And
she also said both. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that can make it. I imagine that's probably a challenge for relationships. When you have someone who just isn't thinking the way most people think and fitting it's going to be a challenge.
Right. I think both Irene Miracle and Lee McCloskey said that it was really gratifying to see the attention the movie gets now.
Good.
So
now, in fairness to Dario, he was very sick while he was making this movie.
Oh, okay.
He came down with hepatitis.
Oh my God.
Oh boy, yikes.
I don't know. Maybe there was something in the water at the time, because didn't that also happen to Fulci? That he got very sick for hepatitis, but
I think that was later, but still.
Yeah. But Argento, he doesn't have very fond memories of this movie, because I guess between screaming at his ex and almost dying from hepatitis, that would be bad. And it looks like it was a challenging, with all the fire and everything else going on. This would have been a challenging film when you were feeling great. Never had hepatitis, but it looks pretty god awful. So
yeah. Well, we have another. There are several beautiful young women in this movie, and Anna Peroni is one of his favorites, who usually just hangs around long enough to get killed, but this one, she's sort of a weird, I don't know, phantom.
I think she's supposed to be one of the mothers.
Yeah. She's the one that sits in the classroom with the
and she's mouthing words like what? I don't get it.
And stroking a cat like a James Bond villain, and she's mesmerizing. I mean, she's literally bewitching, which fits in perfectly. It's a great non-speaking role. It's one of the things that people remember most from
She's
this
the
film.
one that's in House by the Cemetery. She's the one that got the stuff coming out of her mouth, or is that in?
Oh no, that's
a different one.
You think of a different movie. I think she's. I'm trying to remember House by the Cemetery. I seem to think she's. Oh, I mean, I could. This is every character in the movie. She comes by the house and gets killed. I feel like she's someone's girlfriend or whatever. And,
House by the Cemetery. Yeah. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of one of the other three.
You're thinking of one of the other Fulci movies where the girl pukes up her guts.
Oh yeah, isn't?
Or
is
no?
that City of Hell?
I know what I was doing. I was actually thinking of the other Fulci movie. Yeah.
The Beyond? It's either The Beyond or City of the
Might
Living
be
Dead.
What was the other one?
That's it.
City of the Dead. I think it's that one.
I keep calling it City of Hell. I don't know. Yeah. Like that one, for some reason, the name, I just can't freaking get it. I don't know why.
She's not listed in that. She's just in the House by the Cemetery. So, okay.
And I'm going to guess in Tenebrae she got stabbed. That's a safe bet.
I think you may have that one right. She doesn't have, I don't believe she doesn't have a lot of credits.
She's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
In a creepy, scary way. Like
intense. She looks intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 credits from 78 to 85.
I'll give Argento and a lot of the Italian directors credit. They're good at finding faces, at finding even like the Leone westerns and everything, the townspeople. Even if it's just the bartender, they have just really unique faces that are memorable, and the camera can do a lot with them. And this is a tiny role. She's got two scenes. She's sitting in a classroom and she drives by in a car.
She, according to her bio, Dario offered her the title role in Mother of Tears in 2007, but she
wisely turned it down.
The same character that she played in Inferno. Who knew? But she declined the offer. She'd been retired for over 20 years. So
sorry to say, it was a wise choice on her part.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what else do we have? Veronica Lazar, who is
seemingly just a mild-mannered nurse.
Is she the sister for New York? Is that the deal?
Yes.
Yeah. And she says some decidedly unnursey things.
Which only makes sense at the end when you realize she's not a nurse. She's death.
Yeah, Mother Tenebrarum. Veronica Lazar. I was going to look up that quote, but she says something to him. You'll be dead, but you won't be unhappy, or something weird like that.
Well,
it's the end, but you won't be unhappy.
And she was in the Beyond. So, I'm trying to remember how she died. I feel like she was the wife of the plumber. Who,
oh, you got a better memory than me.
Yeah, it's again all these Italian movies, Argento and Fulci. People keep saying, "Oh, it's like dream logic," which sounds like a way to excuse the fact that there's just such a weak, weird, illogical narrative. But I really think that's what they were going for. These guys had the talent and the chops and the intelligence to write a perfectly straightforward script. They all did it. Both of them made lots of movies that were very standard 3-act structure, but they didn't do it for these. So that's a choice. And on that level, it works. I mean, The Beyond is insane if you try to look at it from like a real movie. How many real movies end with the protagonist stuck in an oil painting? None that I can think of. Yeah. But it made perfect sense in The Beyond as much as anything else did.
She says, the nurse says, you can't leave. Your journey has come to an end. Everything around you will become dark and someone will take your hand. You'll be pleased, not unhappy.
Yeah, I'd run.
Mm-hmm.
Time to run.
Weird. Mm-hmm.
She's great too. I think she's got a definite creep vibe to her look.
Because with the nurse, like the interactions with the nurse, she just seems kind of ditzy. Like, I'm a musicologist. Oh, a toxicologist. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Womp womp. And then that shot above, the top shot where suddenly she looks over and it's like, okay, we're not the ditzy nurse anymore. The mask is off. New mask is about to go on.
Well, you let her hair out, take the little nurse cap off.
Yeah.
Give her a little backlighting.
And I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sasha Petef. Sacha. He was the The bookstore guy.
Bookstore guy. And he's creepy looking. I mean, that face too. I'm looking at this face and it's like, it's kind of a little bit like Brian Cox from Manhunter.
Everybody in this movie looks like they're associated with demons or something.
Yes. He's like, I'm looking at that, like sometimes I'm looking at him, he's like, he kind of looks like Richard Mulligan, but then also like Brian. He's obviously bad news. If you talk to him for 2 seconds, everyone in this movie, you need to run if you run into any of these. So he has the most offensive scene in the movie. I like cats, obviously.
But in his defense, he is attacked by like a dozen or 24 cats just come flying at him out of the ether. I don't know where they come from.
Those kittens in the bag didn't do anything except be
cute. Yeah, well, he shoved them in the bag. That wasn't too cool. And then the hot dog vendor killed him for it.
Yeah,
what can I say?
So
he takes it. He drops the bag in this. You can't really tell what he's dropping it into. I guess it was a lake because the bag, like, all of a sudden dives down farther, and he takes one false step and falls in.
And then all the rats show up. Every rat in New York. Oh, it's during the lunar eclipse. So the rats come out. Yeah.
And the rats avenge the cats. Now
which is amazing because you would think they're natural enemies, but I guess like, hey, that's not cool. Those were kittens.
There's a lot of rats.
A lot of rats. And props to the actor or his stand-in who let these rats climb all over. I'm sure these were trained rats. These were not like trapped in the sewer. And then brought in for the movie, but still. Now I noticed in the scene where Daria is attacked by cats, which was Lamberto Bava throwing cats at her. There was at least one shot where it looked to me like someone was wearing a Daria Nicolodi mask. It didn't look like her face. And yeah, because I don't care how badly the relationship ended. No, Dario, I am not going to let you throw actual clawed cats at my face. So yeah, but those cats were obviously being tossed. You could almost see the hands on the corner tossing these little house cats at this person, and then you have to pretend, oh no, they're attacking me, and the cats are just like, let me go. I think I actually have a slide here with some cats in it.
Yeah, you do. I'm just looking at this guy's credits. I don't recognize anything other than Patrick Still Lives.
I feel like I've seen him in other stuff, but I nothing that I found there.
Yeah.
He's just got that kind of face. He's definitely good in the menacing role.
So let's do the cats. Here's the cats. Aww. We got cats. There's beautiful Anna Peroni with her cat.
And nice close up of a cat's eye, scary looking.
I thought that was supposed to be the guy's eye that was following him around all the time. But
well, it's
that he was like demonic or something. But okay, it's a cat.
And that cat in the mirror, isn't that the mirror that breaks at the end for death to come out?
It's ridiculous. So funny.
Oh God, that was great.
Yeah.
There, she said she looks right at home in this big lecture hall.
Oh yeah, she looks like
everybody else is wearing headphones to listen to the music.
She's posing for the cover of Vogue magazine with a cat. Yeah. Everyone else has normal neon lights from above, and she's got gorgeous 3-point lighting as lit by a professional Hollywood cinematographer. And why not? What's the point of being a witch if you can't have perfect 3-point lighting that just follows you around wherever you go? That's definitely one of the spells I'd cast.
So you've got one labeled here. Pretty colors.
Look at that. That's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. That could have been a good poster too.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. It's totally.
The one on the top.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing. So here's one of the tricks everyone's probably noticed. that there's a 3D effect that doesn't require glasses, and it's using colors. It helps if you wear certain glasses, it accentuates it. But even with your bare eyes, it makes it appear, blues appear to recede and reds seem to pop out. Yellows and greens are somewhere in between. And if you surround them with black, it really gives it a cool, strange 3D effect. And yeah, I see that a lot when I'm watching this on a good TV.
So this was the guy that was the hands. That's the guy that's going around collecting all the books, right? The Mother of Tears book.
Yeah, is it a guy or is it the witch when she's
the witch? Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's grabbing them all.
They do kind of look like nails. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I know when it's holding a knife, it's Dario Argento, but other than that, it's not really explained.
Yeah, that red is red.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't even care. I mean, there's you don't even have to say it's dream logic. It's certainly dream lighting, because where in the hell are these light sources coming from?
Oh no.
It's just cool. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think
this movie makes me love architecture. The buildings are just stunning. It's like
they are. There's
and a few kills.
Some kills. So
slow guillotines, torturously slow, ineffective guillotine.
Yeah.
Takes out the girlfriend. It didn't come quite down far enough. Let me lift it up.
Didn't even draw blood. I better do that again. Put some outfit to it.
And then the old guy strangled by his speaking aid.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm like, they show the sequence, and I'm like, where the hell did that? What's he strangling out of? Then it took me a minute to realize.
Then the bottom one is cat killer versus hot dog vendor. Spoiler alert: hot dog vendor wins, as he should.
And every hot dog vendor needs his machete in his cart, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Is that like a samurai sword, or it's more like I don't know. It's got some good kills, and you didn't pull the one, the knife through the neck.
I didn't have as much luck finding good pictures for this.
And then there was the other one where the guy's eyeballs are.
Yes, well, I think that's cat killer. I think that's the effect. The rats, surprisingly, I would have predicted otherwise, didn't go for the eyes. They went around the eyes.
Some nasty stuff.
Yep.
And then you have the last. I think this is the last. We did cats. We did that, and
here we are.
The much talked about ending.
See, to me,
I love it, but
it's so obviously a skeleton costume, and it's like, I know the people who worked on this movie could have come up with a real, death, scary death, as opposed to kind of rubbery death. But
somebody's gonna.
I still like it too.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna write in and explain the whole thing to us. I mean, there's an extensive narration at the beginning. I thought it was extensive, describing the three mothers and what they did and where they came from and what they're trying to do. And one's in New York, and one's in Rome, and one's in Germany. And Suspiriorum was the one in Germany, from Suspiria. So anyway, and one was the oldest, and one was the youngest, and one was the most deadly, and but it has to do with this book of alchemy, and I didn't get the alchemy in it at all. I mean, where was the person doing the magic and stuff?
Why did things happen the way they did?
They're not really supposed to be witches. It's supposed to be alchemy, which is magic science, I guess. Science and magic. I don't know. It just is there.
Yeah. What was the book all about? Why did things happen the way they happened? Don't know.
Well, I didn't get too much into it, but Thomas DeChancy, that they said was from a book, that is an odd character. A very odd character. He wrote something about the, what is it, Death of the Opium Eaters or something like that. It was kind of a famous book. He started they actually said he sort of was considered the founder of addiction literature.
Oh.
I didn't know there was a subgenre like that, but yeah, okay. I dig it.
That's interesting.
All right. I don't know. What do we say here, folks? Mario Bava was involved.
One of his last projects. He was brought in to do some effects, which is a good choice. And I think from what I hear, he enjoyed working with his son, Lamberto.
I'll bet.
Because he was, he was getting near the end of his life and looking to pass on his legacy. Lamberto would be a third generation of Bava's working in fantastic films. So that's cool. As a Bava fan, it's great to see this. And I think people may have overstated how much directing he did, because toward the end of his life, he was having a hard time getting projects made, which seems a crime now. So, people like to say, oh, this is so Bava-esque, which in a lot of ways it was, but I'm sure Argento clearly appreciated Bava's influence and craftsmanship. So that's cool. I'm glad that he got to be a part of this. I really enjoy this. It's such a visual feast. And it has, I mean, again, from the standpoint of storytelling and all that, this is sort of a thing you watch and experience and don't think too hard about. Because if you do, you'll probably get angry like Crystal. Because the choices everyone makes are dumb. Wolf. And I don't know why things are happening as they do. So you just sort of sit back, watch, and characters come and go, mostly go. And so which makes it a pretty good companion to Suspiria.
Well, here's a name that comes up too. I think you were involved in some of those ones we did for Classic here, but Anthony LaPena, who is described as dubbing legend, provides the voice of Varelli in the English language version. Who is the guy in the wheelchair, right?
Yeah, I think so. I thought the dubbing was pretty good in this.
Yeah, me too. I agree. But not everything was dubbed though, right? Like,
I don't know.
Yes, they in those two interviews, the McCloskey and Irene Miracle said that it was all looped.
Oh.
That seems to be an Italian thing. That even when it's not necessary, they shoot the films without, I guess, sound and then put it in later. Now, for something like this, with all the flames and everything going around, it probably would have been useless to try to mic these people up. But yeah, that is a very. I always thought the dubbing that they had out in Italy and everything was just for the American market, but no, it was. So it became quite the art form that some of the good dubbers were really sought after, and their contributions were considered a big thing because basically they were not just the dubbing department; they were the sound department. Without them, the movie didn't have any sound.
Right. When when James Woods was in talks, Nancy Allen was also in talks as Rose, which would have been Irene Miracle, I believe. So now, to keep the fairy tale approach set by Suspiria, Dario conceived the idea of using Grimm's fairy tale Hansel and Gretel as a basis for the story and plot. Lee McCloskey and Irene Miracle as Hansel and Gretel, but instead of being set in a pancake house or a cake house, it was set in a demonic labyrinth, thus leading the main characters to act like children.
That feels like a reach. I didn't get any Hansel and Gretel vibes at all from this. Should have said in an International House of Pancakes. Yeah, I didn't get any Hansel or Gretel vibe. I could see the fairy tale aspect, kind of, sort of, but not Hansel and Gretel.
I guess the scene with the bag of cats was shot in Central Park.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Wow. It looked like crap.
So Central Park.
Central Park's beautiful. It was beautiful when I was there. It was last year. I thought it was. Yeah,
well, maybe it's gotten better. Last time I took my girls out there, and this was a long time ago, we were feeding peanuts to the squirrels, and then I realized they weren't squirrels.
No, it's gorgeous.
They were rats. They were rats looking for a cat killer to eat, but instead they got our planters nuts.
Well,
I will say it was during the cherry blossoms when they were.
Okay.
Okay.
It's gorgeous.
Well, there's a fair amount of rats in San Diego. They nest in the tops of the palm trees and bushy parts and stuff, I guess. So.
Oh God. I don't know.
They jump down on you as you walk by.
Wow. I don't know. I've seen them. So like this place where they have traps and stuff out, but there's a concrete, like a 2-foot concrete wall around here. And a couple of years ago, we looked out and saw a rat running down along the side of that. And I've never seen a rat in Iowa, although I've seen possums on my back porch, and I've seen fox, and I don't know what all else.
Those are all fine.
Deer,
and listen, we'll probably get letters. I know there's people who have rats as pets, and those are pet rats. Those are different. These are these Norwegian rats that come off a steam shovel and will eat a baby. They're just awful.
Okay. Well, hey, are we anything else we want to say about this?
Well, if you're Dario Argento fan, you should see it. Otherwise, I mean,
I think it's worth seeing this in a good copy, good resolution.
Well, Prime, I thought the Prime quality was pretty freaking good. So just saying.
Body count 10.
Oh, it seemed like there were fewer deaths, but
yeah,
it doesn't seem right. Yeah.
A lot of them are pretty quick, or maybe they include anyway.
Well,
all right. Well, we do have some feedback. We have some
feedback.
We got quite a bit of feedback, actually. Now we will see some. There's a gentleman who is leaving us feedback that is Italian, and some of his feedback is in Italian, which I run through Google Translate, and some of it's not. So the first one from Rosano Macchioni, GM4MG, for Prince of Darkness 174. And Crystal, would you take that?
Yes. The Prince of Darkness is a masterpiece by Carpenter. With the fog, the most terrifying and atmospheric. Yes. The evil of the world slowly creeps in, then enters and leads you into the other dimension. Excellent interpretation by Alice Cooper.
Cooper was great.
I love Alice Cooper.
Okay, then Rosano Macchioni comments on The Church.
You want me to go? Okay, sure. I'm just going to skip to the Google Translate.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I don't want to mangle an entire language here. I saw it when I was 18, and I liked it a lot. Then The Sect, which was better than The Church, 1991. Soavi is an underrated Argentine director. Jeff says, isn't he Italian? That's what I thought, but
I looked him up, and it said he was born in Milan, and that at no point did I see anything about him going to, I don't know, maybe his parents, I don't know. And it could have been, voice recognition missed it, or maybe autocorrect, I don't know. But I replied to Rosano and asked him, isn't he Italian? So we'll get the scoop there. Maybe he was testing us, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Okay, I'll take this one. Episode 246. 246 Nomads from Travis McDonald. Good to have you back, Travis. Haven't heard from you in a while. Travis says, just an update on this one. Nomads still sucks.
Yeah, fair.
Best wishes.
Fair. Mm-hmm.
We'll check back in a few more years. Yeah.
All right. Where are we back to? Crystal, episode 277, Blue Monkey from Mikey Z.
Macuzzi, Jiminy Crickets, I want my money back. There was less than nary a blue monkey to be found. Nary. That's I had seen this Chuck Manson and the Little Rascals meet Relic back in the early 90s. After hearing about how bad it was, I saw it on VHS in a less than pristine format and had to agree. I remember thinking this is how low budget aliens set in a hospital. It even has a character named Bishop. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Saw it again recently for the podcast, and I have to change my opinion slightly. Ooh, I said slightly. Canuxploitation? More like can suck exploitation.
Yeah.
It's not that terrible.
That's pretty funny.
I've seen worse.
Railsback gives a competent performance, but you feel like he's not really there. But that quirkiness is his unusual acting MO. Think of his performance in Life Force a couple of years earlier. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I love Life Force. SCTV alums Joe Flattery and Robin Duke add some comedic padding as soon to be parents. Joy Coghill was a hoot as a blind patient. Dee Dee that mistakenly finds a cure for the mysterious virus affecting the hospital. John Dean Wormer Vernon gives a good performance as a hospital administrator, not the usual blustering authoritarian, but he has some really good moments. Susan Ansbach, I hope, is very good as the head doctor on duty during the crisis. Don Lake, a low-rent cheese and rice. Don Lake, a low-rent comedic actor, puts in a less than usual performance that works as the entomologist called upon to help the crisis. That is pretty much probably everyone in the cast, right? Okay. The hidden low-lit cinematography actually works here, concealing the low budgetness of the film. The creature looks like, if it doesn't look good, low light's probably best. The creature looks like a cross between David Cronenberg's The Fly and them, but David Cronenberg's Fly looks super good. The script needed more work.
Well, but them is like ant models that they moved around.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
the script needed more work turning down the goofy. That's great to see Ralph Miller make an appearance and his reading of a certain feedback. Next up, Purple Primate featuring a romp around a drugstore infested by butterflies. No, wait, that plot is too good for can suck exploitation. Can suck.
Wow.
That's funny.
Well, the Canadians are already mad enough at us, and now he's stirring up the pot.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that. Oh. Ooh. Oh. I'm so down.
All right.
I'm like, oh yeah.
So just to fill Crystal in, because you were not on that episode. Ralph filled in, and when he read feedback, he put like a whole sort of I don't know, Mr. Rogers / dramatic reading into it. It was insane.
That's awesome.
All right. Bill Robert Baker on The Blue Monkey.
Or as I call it, the most wrongly named movie in history. No blue monkeys. I feel cheated. But seriously, I think this is a fun movie if you're in the mood for a light 80s monster flick. I found this one on YouTube a few years back and gave it a watch. Never had heard of it before. Seems like I had seen the poster before somewhere, though. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And one from Thunderhead Jones.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I love Ralph's reading of the feedback almost as much as I love Chad's reading of the tagline. You're the greatest, Chad.
Yeah.
Ralph writes back, thanks. No one gets out of here alive, so I figure we might as well have fun along the way.
That's right. all
right. And then Angel, which went live 2 days ago, episode 278, we have some one-liners. Crystal, I think, is that where I'm at? Yeah, DPT 3232.
One of the great movies to watch at 3 a.m. Yeah, it seems like a 3 a.m. movie for sure. It's not quite sexy enough, though. Not quite enough nudity there, but yeah.
That's why they have pause and frame advance.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, what?
Oh boy.
All right. And Berliner Zero. Bill.
Great movie series. Oh, I disagree, but okay, hey man. Okay, Berliner.
I mean, it's fun.
No, sure.
And Crystal, the last one, Jesse Diaz, 1293.
I think it's the sequel that has a great line where she gets the bad guy. Cornered, she raises the gun and says, "When you get to hell, tell him an angel sent you." Pow, pow.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom.
Okay, that's awesome.
I think, yeah.
Mic
That is
drop.
awesome.
Tell him an angel sent you.
So I appreciate it. We appreciate the comments, even these one-liners. I mean,
Sure.
tell us when you saw the movie, you didn't like it, we were full of it, whatever.
Oh, Canada, whatever you got.
Yeah, Canada, if you would like to argue. But thank you, Rosano. Thank you, Travis McDonald.
Jesse.
Good to hear from you again. Mikey Z, thanks for the episode synopsis. And Robert Baker, Thunderhead Jones, and Ralph Miller.
Yep, Berliner, DPT, and Jesse. Yep.
And
Chad.
Finally, plenty of ways to stay in touch with us. There's send feedback to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com, or even better yet, leave comments on Gruesome Magazine's YouTube channel, or you can go to Gruesome Magazine's HNR and DOH podcast Facebook group. We love feedback. Also, we do have a Patreon group, and if you sign up for Patreon for just a few dollars a month, one of the things you will get are Decades of Horror episodes within a day or two of when we record them. They usually don't go live for 12 days to 2 weeks after we record them, although that's only if we record on schedule. We just recorded a Classic Era a day late, or a week late, so it just went out yesterday, I believe. The Gruesome, the Patreon special, early advance notice, whatever. Anyway, also, what did we do, Bill, on 70s?
Oh, we did Kolchak the Night Stalker. We went through every episode.
Yes, we did.
Had a lot of fun doing it.
And those are only available through the Patreon group. So
that's right.
Check us out there. That's it for this episode, but every 2 weeks we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up is one chosen by Crystal. What are we doing, Crystal?
The Twilight Zone, the movie. Yay.
Good choice.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. And I love John. Probably the John Lithgow segment is probably my favorite short little in all of every short everywhere. It's probably my favorite. It's so cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love the ending on that too. But I told her when she picked that bill, I said, "Oh, going for the controversy."
Yeah, got a lot to say about that.
And this is a double tap. Different Grue Crew did this 8 years ago.
Wow.
So
I can't believe this is our first time. It's such a good movie.
Worth another look.
It's so overshadowed by the tragedy that happened in it that you kind of lose sight of. I love Joe Dante's episode too. There's a lot of really
I do
cool
too.
things in this. But it's like The Crow. It's hard to talk about it without the elephant in the room.
Oh yeah, but that's what I was like. Oh yeah. I mean, I was too young to really understand, any of that stuff. But still, I'm like. And actually, this is wasn't it like the dude got sued actually and lost or something? I think so.
No, John Landis was put on trial for manslaughter, negligent homicide, something, and got off.
What? He got off? Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought
we'll talk about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next episode. So,
but still a great pick. Great pick.
It is. And And actually, we've had, Gregory Crosby was with us on Classic here Sunday, and he said that he loves when we do the double taps, especially when it's an entirely different crew. And that particular one is an entirely different crew.
That's right.
By the way, the next Classic here will be The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is also a double tap, but it's episode 198, and we did it on episode 13.
Wow, that's a long time.
A lot of different people. And we have a special guest right now, assuming things are going to happen the way we're planned. My grandson Eli is going to join us.
Oh, cool.
That's so cute.
Who is now 20 years old.
Oh, God, he's old.
Oh, that's so cool, Jeff. That's really so cool because you can talk about like seeing it when it was first released, and then he can talk about like seeing it on.
Yeah, right. I could talk about it in the theater in Germany. Yeah. He is a film fan, and has gotten into
198. So you're just 2 away from the 200th.
Yes, we are.
Episode.
Wow.
I think what we're going to do, our first episode, our beta episode or 0 episode was we all went through our like 2 or 3 favorite horror movies of each decade. And I think we're going to do that again because we got different people, and the people that are the same may have discovered something.
That's true.
Since then, so that's kind of what we decided on. We've done most of the super big name movies of the decades. So anyway, getting off track here on 80s. Hey, come over and watch it some decades before. So I'm going to go watch The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Did you know Kino Lorber now has a 4K of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari out?
Wow.
Now, can you possibly get a 105-year-old movie into...
I'm sure. It just doesn't mean it's going to be like still like as good looking, but...
Right.
Yeah, I mean...
Anyway, hey, am I off track or what? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And thanks to the Grue Believers. Catch us again in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s. As only decades of horror can do it. Say good night, guys.
Good night,
everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.